ever since they announced Ghost of Yotei, people have been divided on this title. There are those who are still very excited we're at least getting another Ghost game because Tsushima was so amazing, and then there's people who are refusing to play it because the lead actress is a radical leftist activist, and they are upset that they're not continuing Jin Sakai's story. But now there is a rumor swirling around that this is going to be delayed until 2026 after we had just heard Sony executives were not happy with the initial response. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I love Ghost of Tsushima. It is a fan-freaking-tastic game. It's one of my favorite games of all time, which is why I was initially very excited that they were doing another game. But after I saw the trailer, I felt conflicted because of what we found out, primarily with the lead actress. Now, the initial teaser that we got looks really great. It looks solid. It looks like Ghost, the first game. It does not look like some massive departure, but because we know that they are, moving on, this is a couple hundred years later, and they're no longer featuring Jin Sakai, that is pretty disappointing. I know his story was done, and I am still hoping that they're going to write something good here, but when you have a lead actress who is a radical feminist who constantly tells people that they're just terrible because of their skin color, yeah, that's not going to sit well with people. And now we're hearing that apparently the rumor is that it's going to be delayed until 2026. It says a rumor claims that Sony and Sucker Punch Productions recently announced Ghost of Yotei game will be delayed to at least 2026 after the company changed its vision from a Tsushima sequel to Ghost of Yotei. So Sony had announced it during their most recent PlayStation State of Play at the end of September and revealed the game would release sometime in 2025. But a little over a week since the announcement, a new rumor from Endymion claims that the game will likely be delayed until 2026. He says, I was also told do not expect Yotei in 2025 at all. Apparently the game's nowhere near being done, but it's a very slim chance that the game actually releases in 2025. It could very easily fall into 2026, but if you're getting your hopes up for it coming out next year, probably don't do that. So of course, this is a rumor. Take it with a hefty grain of salt, right? Whenever I talk about rumors like this, I always say the same thing. We do not know the full truth because we don't know exactly who these insiders are. We don't know if they're reliable. We don't know if they're bullshitting, but with the state of the industry right now, it would not surprise me that a game of this scale would face problems because Ghost of Tsushima took them like 5 years to develop, and it was a gorgeous game, very expansive. It was a long game, especially with the DLC that they had released. So if they are planning on, following in the footsteps of the first game and trying to copy and paste plus add some content and plus adding maybe more portions to the map and having the map be bigger, it wouldn't surprise me if the project started getting away from developers because unfortunately, this is just standard in the industry right now. There are companies who announce games and then they have to delay them 2 or 3 times because it's so big and it's so expansive that they just didn't understand the amount of time that it was going to take. And because they initially, announced it at the State of Play and just said 2025, that means that internally they could also push it off. So maybe they wanted it to release in June, then they internally delay it until August and then November, and then, it's the end of 2025 and they still haven't released it. So they did give themselves some wiggle room, though it wouldn't shock me. Now, this is why I do not get excited over initial teasers and trailers. And this is why I, don't sit here and say companies do deserve blind faith. Because even though Sucker Punch created an amazing game with Tsushima, Yotei is a different beast. It's a different team of developers. It's not the same Sucker Punch that created the first game. And when you have a game like the first one that was such a smashing success, that means that they've probably hired significantly more developers to help with this game. We don't know the size of the team at Sucker Punch right now, but I would assume it's much larger than even when they were creating the first game. And the first game was not small by any means, but they face a lot of problems with this game, specifically because of the lead actress. I have talked about this in a couple of videos now, but she is a radical leftist activist. And I say this quite a lot on this channel. If you can leave your politics at the door when you're going to work, it does not matter to me what your viewpoint is, because you are a human being. You're going to have opinions that I generally do not agree with. If we did not support any products or companies that had scummy people that were a part of them, or people that we do not agree with politically, we would never support anything on the face of this earth ever again, because there's always going to be a greedy executive, there's always going to be a writer or a producer who is a generally terrible person, there's always going to be someone who's loud and obnoxious that we do not agree with. But if she can leave her politics at the door, that would be fantastic. Though this is Sony we're talking about, and Sony did decide to hire her. And Sony is a company right now that is extremely focused on DEI. I want this game to come out and I want it to be good. I want every game to release and them be fantastic, but it's just hard for me to look past someone like her, someone who in the past has spewed so much vitriol on social media before. And it seems that the executives at Sony understand that people are not happy with the choice of lead actress, because apparently they are very worried after the initial response. This is another That Part Place article that talks about this rumor, saying apparently Ghost of Yotei blindsided many people that were working at Sony who were not made aware of what Sucker Punch was making, and that people in the mid-levels at Sony were actually confused when it was announced, because they were under the impression that Jin Sakai would be getting a sequel. And they are not happy at all when it comes to the response of the game either internally at Sony right now. If you are not going to be happy with backlash, don't hire activists. It's just that plain and simple. Hire new voice actors, hire new mocap actresses, hire new writers, hire new producers, hire people that are not controversial figures, hire people that are basically planks, that do not go on social media and spew hatred, that do not go on social media and say, if you don't like my opinions, don't buy this game. Hire people who are actually normal and who are, again, able to leave their politics at the door when they're going to work, but instead they don't want to do that, and they're hiring these radical activists, and they're getting what they deserve. They're getting the response that we all knew they would get. It's at the end of the day going to be hard as a company to not face backlash when you're making controversial decisions. I don't know what they don't understand about this, but time and time again, they go on and on about how, oh my gosh, we don't understand why people don't like this product. It's because people are not shutting up and blindly consuming content anymore. When you have a actress who has made comments about white people that are very demeaning and, let's be honest, racist, you have somebody who comes out and, is very vocal in things like, BLM, it's going to create waves on social media. It's going to create a level of controversy, and it's not that hard to see why. Now, will this game come out and be fantastic? We don't know. It's supposed to release in 2025, and according to these new rumors, it's not even going to come out until 2026, and it wouldn't shock me if over the next couple of months to up to a year, we're hearing that Sony is internally scrambling with this project because they expected it to go over extremely positively, and they expected the developers to be done, but it seems that things are not going well for them so far, and internally they are in chaos mode right now. They don't really know how to deal with the situation, and I'm going to, of course, be keeping my eye on this game and some of the writers, the lead actress, and the developers who are part of this to see if they come out and make any other controversial statements. But right now, things are already not looking good for Ghost of Yotei if we are to believe these rumors. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.